Steph Curry breaks every shooting rule in the book and still makes defenders look like they're playing a completely different sport. But how? Today we're solving basketball's greatest mystery, how a 6'2" guy who looks like he should be selling life insurance became the greatest shooter in NBA history. If you've ever wondered why your jump shot doesn't look like Steph's, good, because it probably shouldn't. Let's break down the science behind the shot that changed the NBA forever. I'm talking biomechanics, physics, and the subtle psychological warfare Curry wages on defenders with every flick of the wrist. Here's basketball's biggest secret. There are two ways to shoot a basketball, and Steph chose the road less traveled. In corner A, the two-motion shot. Bring the ball up, pause at your set point, then release at the top of your jump. This is how 99% of NBA players shoot. In corner B, the one-motion shot, Curry's specialty, where you release the ball on your way up. Look at your typical NBA shooter, Michael Jordan. Textbook form, 90-degree angle at the elbow, shooting at the peak of his jump. Beautiful, right? That jumper ended franchises. Then there's Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, slightly more acute angles, but still classic two-motion shooters that make shooting coaches weep with joy. From day one, every youth coach in America teaches the two-motion shot. Square your shoulders, bend your knees, hold your follow-through. These fundamentals are drilled into players from elementary school through college. And for good reason, two-motion shooting creates consistency. It's easier to replicate. It's more stable under pressure. It's what Ray Allen used to become the all-time three-point king, before Steph came along and snatched that crown like he was taking candy from a baby. But the two-motion shot has one major weakness. It's slow. When you're 6'3" trying to shoot over a 6'9" defender with a 7'2" wingspan, that extra split second can be the difference between getting your shot off or getting introduced to the fifth row of seats via rejection. But then there's Steph, the guy who showed up to the NBA and basically said, "Thanks for the shooting advice, but I'm good." When Curry comes around the screen, something wild happens. That angle between his upper and lower arm, insanely tight. We're talking compressed spring tight. Physics define tight. While most elite shooters have an elbow angle around 90 degrees, Curry's compresses to around 55 degrees at his tightest. This isn't just different, it's revolutionary. Think about it like this. If a jump shot is a spring, most players compress it halfway. Curry, he's compressing that thing to its absolute limit, storing up all that potential energy. Remember high school physics? More compression equals more power. And more power means Curry can launch from distances that make defenders contemplate early retirement. Let's put this in perspective. The average NBA three-pointer is 23 feet 9 inches from the hoop. Curry regularly pulls up from 30+ feet. That's nearly 7 additional feet of distance, requiring approximately 30% more force behind the shot. For most players, adding that extra force would destroy their accuracy. Their form would break down, their shoulders would tense, and their shots would clang off the rim. But Curry's compressed elbow creates a catapult effect, generating that extra power without sacrificing accuracy, and that's why he can casually pull up from the logo like he's shooting a free throw while the rest of the NBA treats those shots like half-court heaves. Now let's talk angles. Check out this final shot over Kevin Love. The ball goes so high it literally leaves the frame for a second. When it drops in, it's at a perfect 60-degree angle with the hoop. For comparison, here's LeBron from similar distance, 45 degrees flat. Despite being 6 inches shorter and 65 pounds lighter than LeBron, Curry gets an extra 15 degrees on his shot. That's like hitting a golf ball with a driver versus an 8-iron. Shooting experts say the ideal entry angle is between 43 to 47 degrees. Curry's like, hold my mouth guard, and shatters that recommendation. Here's why this matters. A steeper entry angle gives you a larger target. The basketball rim is 18 inches in diameter, but depending on your shot's arc, the actual target size changes dramatically. At a 45-degree angle, the effective target area is about 16.8 inches. But at Curry's 60-degree angle, that jumps to nearly 17.6 inches, almost a full inch of additional margin for error. For context, the average NBA game is decided by around 6 points. If even 2 more three-pointers go in because of that extra forgiveness from a higher arc, that's the difference between winning and losing. But there's a trade-off. Higher arcs require more power and are more affected by external factors like environment and distance perception. Most players can't maintain accuracy with too high an arc. Curry somehow turns this potential weakness into another strength. Now for the secret sauce that ties it all together, look at Kobe's free throw. Classic two motion, legs bend during bring up, then jump during release. Motion one, then motion two. Now Steph, this man is bending his legs, bringing the ball up and releasing it all while jumping. It's like watching someone play the piano, drums, and saxophone simultaneously. The average NBA player's shot takes around 0.54 seconds from catch to release. Klay Thompson, considered one of the quickest shooters, clocks in at about 0.47 seconds. Curry, a blistering 0.38 seconds. That's nearly 30% faster than the average NBA shooter. Why does this matter? NBA defenders close out at incredible speeds. A standard NBA closeout covers about 10 feet in 0.5 to 0.7 seconds. With Curry's release, by the time a defender even reacts to him catching the ball, that shot is already halfway to the basket. This early release gives him two superpowers. One, insane quickness. Defenders have milliseconds to react. Second, ridiculous power, allowing him to maintain accuracy from distances that make coaches scream, "No, no, no, good shot." And let's talk about what this does to defenders psychologically. Most NBA players can relax when their man is 30 plus feet from the basket. Against Curry, you're in danger anywhere inside half court. This stretches defenses to their breaking point, creating havoc and opportunities for his teammates. That's why the Warriors' offense became unstoppable, not just because Curry could score, but because his mere presence warped defensive schemes beyond recognition. But wait, there's more. Like any masterpiece, it's the subtle details that matter. Curry's shot has other quirks that make it special. The slight tilt in his stance, the rotation of his body as he shoots, and that little thumb flick at the end, aka the chef's kiss. These aren't just random. They're the difference between a good shooter and the greatest shooter of all time. Let's start with stance. Most coaches teach square feet to the basket. Curry, his feet are slightly angled around 15 to 20 degrees. This creates a more natural alignment with his shoulder and shooting arm, reducing tension throughout the kinetic chain. Then there's the subtle rotation. As Curry rises up, his body rotates ever so slightly toward the basket. This isn't poor form, it's intentional. This rotation adds power and maintains balance, especially when shooting off the dribble or coming off screens at full speed. And that thumb flick, pure genius. While most shooters focus on a traditional follow-through, Curry adds a slight thumb rotation that imparts additional backspin. More backspin equals a softer touch on the rim and better accuracy on long-distance shots. Did you know Curry's shot generates nearly 3 rotations per second of backspin? The average NBA player's shot, about 2 rotations per second. That extra rotation creates what physicists call the Magnus effect, literally helping the ball stay on target through its flight. These details might seem insignificant in isolation, but combined, they create the perfect shooting storm. And here's the kicker. Curry developed most of these mechanics as a teenager because he wasn't strong enough to shoot traditionally from distance. What began as compensation for lack of strength became the blueprint for the modern NBA shooter. Think about that. His weakness became the foundation for completely changing how basketball is played. Talk about turning lemons into championship lemonade. So is Curry's technique easy to copy? Well, one motion shooting itself isn't rare. Go to any LA Fitness and you'll find plenty of guys pulling up from 3 with similar mechanics. The difference? Curry does it while being chased by 6 feet 10-inch athletic freaks, running off multiple screens with double teams, no oxygen left in his lungs, and millions watching. That's not just shooting, that's artistry under pressure. What makes Curry truly special isn't just his mechanics, it's his relentless practice. The man reportedly makes 500 shots every day during the season and over 1,000 in the off-season. We're witnessing someone who's put in over 20,000 hours perfecting one motion. The result? A player who's not just changed how the game is played, but redefined what we thought was humanly possible on a basketball court. Remember when people said you couldn't win championships shooting threes? 4 rings later, those same people are trying to find the next Steph Curry. Good luck with that. Generational talents don't come around very often. So next time you watch Curry pull up from distances that make commentators lose their minds, remember, you're not just watching a great shooter, You're watching someone who took conventional wisdom, threw it in the trash, and revolutionized the sport played by over 450 million people worldwide, all with a shot that would make most youth coaches cringe. If this video helped you appreciate Curry's greatness, smash that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns that'll make you see the game differently. And if you're working on your own jump shot, remember, what works for Curry might not work for you. But the principles of practice, consistency, and finding what feels natural, that works for everybody.